At NBI, we believe every home, business and farm in Ireland deserves access to high-speed fibre broadband. NBI, building a limitless Ireland.
Folk all over my house last night to give me my Christmas present. He gave me a framed picture, and the picture was me and him hugging each other, and we almost looked like we're going to kiss. Golfer-caddy relationship is very individual. Everybody looks at me and probably thinks that I'm really chilled out, but I'm actually not. Like, inside I'm very uptight. I can get anxious about golf and about stuff, and he's just so chilled out, so laid back. Just a great person for me to have around. My thing would be always try and hang around with people who are better than you. I know nothing lasts forever, he knows nothing lasts forever, so we're just going to give it as good a shot as we can. We'll always have Port Rush, and that's what I said to him, like, no matter what happens, we'll always have that.
My name is Graeme Clarke, and I'm the Global DevOps Lead here at Expleo.
And my name is Siobhán Smith, Global Marketing Manager at Expleo, and we are delighted to be here with you all. Today we're going to talk about rebooting in action, and we'll illustrate how in just 6 weeks, Expleo digitally transformed inner city helping homeless's Christmas Santa box appeal. And we'll highlight what we feel are the secrets to the success of this rapid transformation story. Make sure to join the conversation online on Twitter, on Facebook, at Business Show IRL, and be sure to use the hashtag Rebooting Ireland. So a quick word about Expleo for those that don't know us. Expleo is a global, trusted and agile partner that covers the full life cycle of end-to-end digital transformation. We work in over 30 countries and employ around 600 people in Ireland. So our consultants would typically work with large public and private sector organizations on their long-term transformation programs. So they would bring the expertise to help innovate, design, build, test, deliver digital products and services. And hopefully we'll bring that statement to life today for you all. So what does it mean to reboot? So when setting out to put this story together, I started by regarding the word reboot. We've heard it so frequently over the last year that for many, it's lost some meaning. But actually, in light of the story we'll share, it's quite apt that to reboot in itself stems from technology. Digital transformation, in whatever way it makes sense to you, is in itself an act of rebooting. Going back to the start, putting all your energy behind trying things again in a new way and leveraging technology in the process. But to tell this story, we must start at the beginning, and it's important to put it into context. So let's cast our minds back to last year. The country, and indeed the world, was gripped by fear and uncertainty. We all remember Leo Varadkar's speech on the steps of the Dáil, introducing the first of what would become many restrictions on our lives. The feeling in the pits of our stomach as we saw headlines depicting death rates both real and projected. And unfortunately for many people, their fears did materialise, and we were looking at almost 25% unemployment in Ireland. And from my perspective as head of marketing for Ireland at the time, I was lucky in that my employment wasn't affected, but almost overnight, my whole strategy and plan for the year had become obsolete. So this meant that, like many others, I had to reboot myself and take a step back, take in the gravity of the situation and decide on the best next move for Expleo. I knew that this move would be critical. We needed to lead by example and essentially take Expleo out of it altogether. So I thought about what we could do to help, and that's where the idea for the Rebooting Ireland Fund came from. We launched a €100,000 fund for free consultancy and invited organisations impacted by the pandemic to apply. And these areas would be critical to stimulation for their recovery, such as digital transformation, business strategy, business agility, and change management. And Inner City Helping Homeless was one of the applicants. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Inner City Helping Homeless, they're a volunteer-run charity based in Dublin city centre. They formed in 2013 on the back of the grave homelessness crisis in Ireland. They're non-government funded and they rely heavily on people to volunteer and for their fundraising support. So you'll probably be familiar with their biggest campaign of the year, which is the annual Christmas Santa Box Appeal. And this is where people pack Christmas gift boxes for those in our society living with homelessness or direct provision. The gifts are usually collected on what is the most important fundraising day of the year for the charity. The presents are piled into either a Lewis or a truck, as you can see in the image here, while Santa and his pals shake buckets outside and spread some Christmas joy. So personally, I participate in this event every single year, and at a time of year when we all tend to overspend, it's so important to give back. And we know that people living in homelessness or in direct provision struggle to put into words just how much these gifts can mean to them at a time of year that can be so difficult for so many people. So here's the challenge threatening the future of the charity. Due to social distancing measures and guidelines from the government, this campaign was off the cards in 2020. So Inner City Helping Homeless came to us for help. Now, I won't say what happened next was a Christmas miracle because this is where Expleo excels, but it was pretty impressive all the same. Expleo's solution was to digitally transform the campaign while ensuring that we still kept the elements of it that made it unique and important to both the person giving and receiving the gifts. We wanted to ensure that you could still choose age range, boy, girl, gender neutral, that you could still customize what went into the box as much as possible, and that you could leave the person with a personal message at Christmas time. If we could manage to set this up online, then ICHH's volunteers could put the packages together and in a safe manner, socially distanced. They could also handwrite the notes and put them into cards for the recipient, keeping that personal touch. So this leads me on to the first secret of our success. Align the team to a shared sense of purpose and keep it front of mind. Expleo stood up a team of experts quite quickly when we embarked on this project due to the really tight timescales we were working towards. But the first thing I did was ensure that we were all inspired to work towards the same purpose, which had nothing to do with the actual product or the website itself. Our purpose was to save the biggest campaign of the year for Inner City Helping Homeless, and also to ensure that everyone in Ireland living with homelessness or indirect provision received a Christmas gift at the end of what was an extremely difficult year for us all. So I'll now pass you over to my colleague Graeme to share some more secrets to our success and tell you just what happened next.
Thanks very much, Siobhán. So first of all, what did we actually do? Well, we digitally transformed the Santa Box Appeal to allow online donations where donors were able to select the contents of their boxes, but also leave personalized messages for the people they were giving the donations to. We built a next generation responsive web application that supported all device and browser combinations, even old-fashioned ones. We couldn't afford to exclude any potential donors. We then leveraged latest technology for automated build, test, and deploy to produce a solution that would very, very quickly get our code up there into the production servers. We built a highly performant and a resilient application that wouldn't fall over even when loads of users had maybe gone on to make a donation. Any downtime can result in less donations and less people being helped through this appeal. And we also built an operational solution which enabled ICHH to coordinate their volunteers that would pack and distribute the Santa boxes. So what were the results, particularly in terms of the numbers? Well, this year there were donations from more than 15 countries around the world, and not just from Ireland. There were more than 10,000 Santa boxes that were packed and delivered, which was equivalent to over 120,000 euros in donations. And in terms of the software, we managed to produce 3 production releases inside the 6 weeks of the program, and each of those releases increased the reach of the software to more potential donors. And I have to admit, I've been in software development now for over 25 years, and for me, this has been the most rewarding project that I've ever worked on. And the reason is that I've been able to use all of the best practices that I've been doing and talking to people about throughout my career to actually make a measurable impact on the lives of people that are less fortunate than ourselves, which has been brilliant. Now, I'd like to share another secret with you, which is adopting the right approach. And for us at Expleo, that's the DevOps approach, which is about the continuous delivery of valuable software. And up there on the screen now, I put the 4 sort of pillars of our approach. And the first one is continuous build, test, and deploy. And that's about leveraging the latest technology like automation, CI/CD, artificial intelligence, dynamic environments to get the software out there quicker onto the production environments. Then we've got maximization of collaboration and communication, making sure the team's all talking and working together really well and effectively. And it's not just the team, that also includes the customers and the end users as well. Then we've got operation and feedback, getting high quality software out there into the hands of the users early and quickly, and getting valuable feedback that we can use to change the product in the right way. And then finally, we've got to focus on the delivery of business value, actually giving the customers what it is they're looking for. And DevOps is about maximizing that value that we can get out, but with minimizing the amounts of effort and cost that we put in to obtain it. Now, the next secret is about controlling the data. And controlling the data is crucial to providing us a measurement of success and allowing us to take the right decisions in the project. And I've divided the data into 3 areas there. The first one is quality or software quality. And that's things like, well, is the software actually going to work? Is it going to work for everyone? Or will it, what about those people maybe who are visually impaired? Will it perform, especially when thousands of users are logging into the system? Well, will it stay up, or will it recover quickly if it goes down again? And will it be secure? You know, with this particular application, there's financial data being captured, so we need to know that it's secure. And also, what about the likes of maintainability? Will it be quick to roll out future updates and changes, you know, without us building, you know, spiraling amounts, say, of technical debt? Now, here at Expleo, we measure software quality against the ISO 2510 standard, and we score and benchmark the code, and it has to reach particular benchmarks before we actually release it. Then we've also got delivery data, and this is things like development and operational efficiency, stuff like lead time. How long does it take us to get the software out there? How frequently can we deploy software? How long does it take us to recover if something goes wrong? And how many of our changes actually succeed or fail? Now, the third area is also results data. This is things like the amounts of effort that we put in for each deployment, what the cost maybe of each release is, and that allows us to calculate the actual return on investment that we're getting. Now, on the right-hand side here, I've put a screenshot, and that's of one of the dashboards that we provided to ICHH for this project. And what it has in the top there, you can probably just see it has a measure of the numbers of boxes and the corresponding amount of euro that are being donated over time. And that gives us a really clear indication and measurement of the value that we're looking to get. But then that's then broken down into the different types of boxes that are being donated for different target people, you know, male, female, adult, children of particular ages, or gender neutral. And what that does is it allows ICHH to see what types of boxes they have to pack for who and what's going to go in them. And that'll allow them to coordinate their volunteers, how many volunteers are needed and what are they going to do. But it'll also help them to sort of preempt the marketing effort. So, for example, if they're going to run a TV or a radio broadcast, they can maybe use this to call out those groups of people that maybe haven't had so many donations and to try to get that number up. And it's these types of measurements that can provide that sort of actionable intelligence and help determine when we've reached the sort of value that we're looking for. Now, the next secret is about having the right people doing the right job at the right time. And continuous delivery of valuable software, and that's that DevOps approach that I mentioned earlier on, isn't just about having some developers turn out a bit of code. Successful delivery requires a lot of different people working together at the right time. And you can see some of them there on the screen. Yes, you have developers, but you also have architects, functional and non-functional testers, people that understand the UX or user experience, marketing, legal, data security, management, and potentially others. And here at Expleo, we have what we call cross-functional teams that contain all of these various roles, but we also provide people in an on-demand basis, only bringing them in at the right time. And this is a bit analogous to filming a movie. We don't want to have everybody on set all at the same time. And this sort of approach can help us to get to those 3 E's of economics. Economy is getting the right people at the right time at the right cost. Efficiency is about getting the most out of the efforts that we're putting in, and effectiveness is about getting those results and the value that we're actually looking for. And of course, to do that, you need to have that control over the data that I mentioned earlier on. Now, before I finish off, I want to take you through what actually happened in the project so you get an idea of this stuff in actual practice. So first of all, what we did is we had a requirements gathering phase. And ICHH were pretty clear on what it was they wanted the software to do. Well, first of all, there had to be the online donation of Santa boxes, but the second sort of requirement was around social media integration, so you could spread the word through social media. Then there was an idea of a shopping cart functionality where a donor could go on, maybe select multiple different boxes of different types and add them to the shopping cart and then do a bulk purchase. And also there was a plan to use some of the data to help inform the choice of the donor, telling maybe which groups of people haven't had as many donations. So that was great. And what we did is we started off with the first requirement on donation of the Santa box. And we took a couple of weeks and we built that and we put it up there into production and started using it to collect donations. And that was great. In the first week, there was more than €20,000 donated, which was brilliant. However, there were a few problems with it. The instructions on the screen weren't that clear, and people were contacting ICHH asking for clarification, and there was a lot of extra sort of headache and potentially lost donations as well. There's also issues with the billing. Maybe if you'd gone on to donate and you jacked out before actually making the payment, this turned up as an entry on the bill, and it was causing headaches as well and issues where ICHH was having to follow up with the financial statements. So that wasn't great. So instead of plowing on with the next requirement on social media, we took on board a change request. We improved the UX, we clarified the instructions, we sorted out the login and the billing, and we put a new release up to production in only a couple of days. And this resulted in smooth operations. There was no more sort of headaches and anomalous readings in the background, and people were clear on what they had to do. And over the next week or so, the donations continued to increase. But one of the pieces of feedback that we had was that people, especially companies, didn't want to just donate one box. They wanted maybe 50 boxes or 100 boxes. And although we had an idea of a shopping cart at the start, and this was more of, well, let me just pick one box out and I'll have 50 of those, please. So we binned the idea of a shopping cart, and instead we simply added a multiplier to sort of the final screen where you could just say, I'll pick this box and I'll have a certain number of those, please. And this was done very quickly, again, in only a couple of days, and the software released into the production environment. And this was exactly what the clients were looking for. And the number of donations, accelerated away off to far over 120,000 in only the final week of the project. And this is an example of how we've managed to build change into the process rather than firefighting against it. We've maximized the value and the return, and we've minimized the cost and the effort that we're putting into. Hand back over to Siobhán to summarize our talk today.
Great, thanks, Graeme. So what are the key take-homes? So number one, align everyone to a shared sense of purpose and keep it front of mind throughout the project. Remember that this purpose is tied to the impact of the solution, not what the solution itself looks or behaves like. Number two, choose the right approach whereby you are using the best method to suit the parameters of the project. Bring in the experts early to understand the best approach. It will eliminate risk and speed up the project. Number three, controlling the data from the start. Have a data plan and make sure it's agile, meaning using the data to inform decisions throughout the project, not just for reporting the results at the end. Number four, the right people doing the right job at the right time. This is absolutely paramount, particularly when you're working to tight deadlines. So it keeps morale high and it makes it easier to demonstrate the results as you go. Number five, don't find customers for your products, find products for your customers. A famous Seth Godin quote there. So going back to Graeme's analogy of the movie set, make sure that you treat your customers as a central character to the movie who influence the path of the story. And be sure to avoid thinking of them as the audience for the final product after you launch and possibly leave. So that's our presentation. Thank you all for your time today. We hope you enjoyed the topic and the subject matter and have taken something practical away from it. If you would like to talk to either of us, please feel free to pop over to the Expleo booth in the visitor area, and be sure to join in the conversation online, tagging Business Show IRL and by using the hashtag Rebooting Ireland.